नमस्ते दोस्तों। हम आप सबका स्वागत करते हैं एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण विषय पर चर्चा करने के लिए जो महिलाओं के लिए है। विशेष रूप से गांव और सेमी अर्बन भारत में महिलाओं के लिए अपस्किलिंग और सस्टेनेबल रोजगार जनरेट करने के लिए हम आज अपने पे नियर बाय वुमेन फाइनेंशियल इंडेक्स ग्रुप के रिपोर्ट के बारे में बात करेंगे और महिलाओं के अपस्किलिंग और एम्पावरमेंट के लिए राशि के साथ हमारा सहयोग घोषित करेंगे। सबसे पहले मैं स्वागत करती हूँ मिस्टर जेम्स रफाल, जो रिटेलर एसोसिएशन स्किल काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया, जो जाना जाता है राशि के नाम से। जेम्स जी राशि के एग्जीक्यूटिव हेड हैं और उनके साथ जुड़ रही हैं मिस जयश्री दास गुप्ता, चीफ मार्केटिंग ऑफिसर पे नियरबाई, जो आज के हमारे मार्गदर्शी होंगे। आज की चर्चा को मॉडरेट करेंगे मिस ऋचा पंत, जो हारमनी इंक के फाउंडर हैं। स्वागत है ऋचा जी आपका। आपसे अनुरोध है कि आप चर्चा शुरू करें और पैनल का स्वागत करें। ओवर टू यू ऋचा।
थैंक यू सो मच। धन्यवाद सभी का। और सबसे पहले तो जयश्री और जेम्स आपको बधाई, कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस फॉर द रिलीज ऑफ द रिपोर्ट। आई थिंक बहुत ही क्रूशियल रिपोर्ट है। हम लोग जो ग्रासरूट में काम करते हैं महिलाओं के साथ, आपने वो सारे फैक्ट्स आप लेके आए हैं। चैलेंजेस क्या है, वहाँ पे स्किल डेवलपमेंट की अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ क्या है, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ क्या है और महिलाएं कैसे क्रेडिट लेना चाहती हैं। हम ये चर्चा को शुरू करेंगे। मैं पहले चाहूँगी जेम्स को थोड़ा हाईलाइट करें अपनी संस्था के बारे में भी और इस पार्टनरशिप के भी बारे में जो पे नियर बाय के साथ में आपकी आज शुरू हो रही है। और आपको क्या लगता है जेम्स, जो ग्राउंड की रियलिटीज़ है विमेन को लेके, क्यों चैलेंजेस आते हैं विमेन को स्किलिंग को लेके और बाद में एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप को भी लेके? पहले जेम्स से मैं चाहूँगी और बाद में जयश्री, आप इसको ले जाइए।
Thank you very much, Richa. First of all, a very commendable effort has been put across to release this report, which shows ground realities and exposes the dividend that exists for us to actually optimize. And various ways are there, various reasons are there. Probably we'll not be able to touch upon all the reasons. So what happens is, let me in a nutshell put it across. One is the relationship between RASCI and PayNearby. It goes way back, probably around 6 to 7 years, when we started actually realizing that skill development and certification is not only necessary for the big brands in the country, especially when we speak about retail. It's all about inclusion even from that perspective, of the MSME segment. So if you actually go to see the smaller retailers, जैसे हम कहते हैं दुकानदार, okay, if you go to see the growth and opportunities from, even if I have to take a case in point of mitigating migration of the workforce, is about creating opportunities in the hinterlands, tier 2, tier 3 type of towns. Now what happens is, if we don't do that, जो जिसे हम कहते हैं दुकानदार या दुकान का मालिक, okay, या मालकिन, for example, they will never see value in us hiring a certified candidate. So the candidate, even if he or she is certified in the hinterlands, has to migrate towards a city or a metro to get employed. Okay, so it's all about creating capacity. So from that perspective, our journey started off with PayNearby in certifying the shopkeepers in remote areas. And thereon, we have been engaging a lot with, the synergies that both our organizations have, wherein they are into the financial services and predominantly in the digital space. We are into skill development and we cut across whether it is online or offline. So digital literacy, in fact, and financial literacy has become part of all our qualification packs. So that is one part of it. Now, we are talking about women empowerment and enabling them in this journey. But I want to take it a slightly behind and talk about the girl child first, okay? Because when you are speaking about including the women in terms of financial, participation in the economic growth of the nation, there is already a challenge that means. So let's address it separately. let's look at the girl child who's actually within the education system or fortunate to be in the education system. And let's look at the other part slightly separately, like the girl child who's passed out from the education system, however, is not part of the workforce, or the girl child who was not as fortunate to get into the education system or the formal education system and is of the employable age or has a need for economic independence. See, the known fact in our country is in the education system, actually, the girl child participation is much higher in terms of percentage compared to the boy child. However, post the education system, okay, that does not translate into the workforce. It is vice versa. Okay. So the first part, if we have to genuinely address this as a movement, which has been enabled also under the National Education Policy 2020 launched by our Honorable Prime Minister, what we are doing as an initiative is, we actually call it, so one part of the national education system clearly articulates the apprenticeship embedded degree program. Okay, what we call as actually pilot. So the full form of pilot is promoting innovation lead over tradition. Okay, typically all of us in our journey also, we kept on studying, and when we felt that this was a certificate or degree that we had to acquire, we've done it. Now take that degree and go and search for a job. Okay, so typically I was interviewed by an alien as much as I was an alien to that HR person in my first job. Okay, so what we are doing now is we are actually getting into the college system, and irrespective of the girl child or the boy child, we are enabling embedded apprentices, which means it's stipend based. They get into the industry, okay, from the first year of BA, BCom or BSc. Okay, so they are first of all economically independent now. Second is they are getting their feet wet while they are studying. Okay. Third thing is they can take a prudent decision whether is this going to be my work life or am I not interested in this, I can choose something else. So they are not giving up their professional years in trying and testing what their aspirations are about. Okay. And the fourth thing, which is the best, is once they acquire their degree, they directly transition, it's a guarantee, it directly transitions into regular wage employment. Which means now, you compare the same girl child who would have not taken admission in this, graduates, and after that has two options: get married, settle down and become a good homemaker, or get into the workforce. Now, she as well as her family is comfortable because within the education system itself, the trust of her family, the parents are much higher when anything is embedded within the education system. Okay, so what happens is their comfort level also, and they say, yes, my girl was working for the last 3 years, so what if she now does it full time and not as an apprentice, as a regular employee? So that is where we will be able to reduce the, what we say, challenge of having so much of workforce in women who are not participating in the economic growth story of the nation. Okay, that is one part.
It's very interesting, James. I would like to, since you're talking about the continuum, right, from education to apprenticeship and to employment, the other thing apart from employment is also how some of them can become entrepreneurs. And I would like to get Jayatri here and talk about entrepreneurship, because we in our work at Harmony Inc. also kind of look at promoting entrepreneurship at the grassroots level. And I think PayNearby has been doing fantastic job in promoting, I think, Digital Naari, you call them, right? So Jayatri, if you can share, how this continuum that James has shared can actually be transformational when it comes to entrepreneurship also.
Thank you, Richa. Thank you, James. Like James was mentioning, RASCI has always been a great supporter in a lot of initiatives that we have taken to take entrepreneurship to the last mile. And both of you have alluded to the fact that any sustainable livelihood generation comes with building capacity that can only be done through the right skilling, right? So people also need to be skilled enough to be able to continue earning. And in many of the programs that we see, sometimes it tends to drop off when people do not have the right skills or the knowledge to continue with that livelihood generation activity. So first of all, a big thank you to James for being a part of this session today, and for always being a big supporter and champion for what we do at PayNearby. Rita, to your point, see, one of the challenges that at PayNearby we identify specific to the female gender sector, to the women entrepreneurship sector, is that today women do not have an agency in their own lives, right? They do not have a voice. They do not have a choice in how they run their families and their own lives because they are not financially independent, right? And in the survey, if you look at the numbers, a whopping majority of women have come forward and said that they would like to be financially independent, but the social infrastructure is such that they do not have the means to do so. So at PayNearby, our focus has been to ensure how we can work with this woman at the last mile and give an opportunity that does not take them away too much from their daily chores, that is not too challenging for them and becomes an obstacle for them to integrate to this to this service. What that meant is that we understand that this woman who we are talking to today, probably they are already engaged in 100 jobs in their personal life. So we want to give them a choice to start earning, which is within the comforts of their home, within a time span that is available to them, and choosing a product or service that makes sense in their location. So Digital Naari program is a culmination of those thoughts. It's what we are saying is that today you may have only 2 hours in your day where you can afford to do work where you earn remuneration, right? The rest of the work are involved in your running of daily family lives, and unfortunately, whether we want or not, it is going to be very difficult to make large systemic changes at one go. So we are saying that if you have just 2 hours of your time that you can devote to this activity, if you want to work within the confines of your home and you don't want to step out, if you want to offer banking, you see there is a need for banking in your area, you offer banking. You see a need for providing insurance, you offer that. You want to enable e-commerce services, people are aspirational in your area, you want to help other ladies in your area buy certain kitchen appliances, for example. So you can do that from the confines of your home, and on doing so, in the 2 hours, you start earning that income for yourself. One of the biggest thing that we face is that depleting women participation in labor force, right? While, globally our numbers compared to global India was always lagging, instead of moving up, we have gone down. So, and the reason is not that, like James was mentioning, it's not like, we do not have enough and more women working. It's just unrecognized, unorganized work, right? So moving away from that, within the confines of the time that is available to them, how can we enable women to go out and start earning for themselves? That gives them an identity, which is one of the major obstacles today, that women do not have an identity. We say good wife, good mother, we don't say a good so-and-so, right? So that will come once women are financially independent, and they can do so. Large systemic changes, if it happens, it will be truly good, but small steps that can lead to women to start earning for themselves, that gives them a better identity in their own homes and families, and gives them a agency and voice to run the life the way they want. So that's what we do at Digital.
Sure, so that's interesting. So James, again, now the entire once the livelihood is secured, whether it is in the form of employment or entrepreneurship, she's getting a regular income. Now, one thing which is important, and the report highlights, is also they don't still make their financial decisions. It is still in the hands of their husbands or the menfolk in the community. How do you see that? How do you see that change happening? Do you think anything with their ecosystem we can do together? What should be the strategy to look at them becoming taking decisions of their own money that they're earning? James first, you, and maybe Jayatri later.
See, it's a very what I would say tough question when you are brought up in a cosmopolitan type of environment. There is no question of actually inclusion that comes to your mind, because everything is included. Okay, it's only when there are a lot of social, cultural factors, etc., that actually enable this. Yes, there will be situations wherein, because of the cultural and social factors, even when the lady of the house, if I would say, becomes financially independent, she may still not by choice take decisions. Many a times it happens, and it's all about a collaborative effort at every stage. Where enabling decision making has nothing to do actually with gender. Okay, it is to do with success. It's see, if you actually go to see, it has nothing to do with anything that we typically talk about, whether it is caste, creed, religion, sex. It's nothing. It's nothing about that. It is about individuals. It's about success or failure. That is what decision taking actually will lead you to. And this kind of environment has to be enabled. So point number one is enabling the economic empowerment for women, and enabling and giving them that platform that failure is fine. It's very important. Okay, many a times, just because they have become economically independent and have taken a decision and probably it has not worked out as well as it was desired to work out, okay, then the blame games starts. See, it's all about accommodating failures also in decisions, because the next decision will be more prudent. Okay, so over a period of time, definitely the upskilling, okay, has to give those kind of ingredients to the person for prudent decision making, whether it's digital literacy, whether it's financial literacy, and having all these capabilities created, then definitely there'll be failures, there'll be successes, but decision taking has to be enabled by every stakeholder of, who's directly or indirectly connected with that woman. It's very important. At least this is my view.
Right. No, I take the point of, also financial literacy and digital financial literacy, because, I think once the livelihood is secured, then I think DFL can be like a top up to that and can ensure that at least decision making is happening by her. Jayatri, your thoughts? I mean, you are a fintech firm and you work on the tech side. In your, experience, how do you see this decision changing? Do you think any role of DFL, because we see the UPI becoming a game changer when it comes to transformation, and women are using, whether it is Google Pay, Bheem, or Phone Pay. So, do you see anywhere that decision getting enabled through the digital financial literacy aspect?
So, Richa, I think the problem is more, long term and social in nature. See, I mean, for centuries, what happened is, there was such gender stereotyping that man is the provider, woman is the nurturer. Money was in the hands of male gender. So, I mean, decisions around money were also being taken hence by men, right? So, women were, the confidence over centuries have eroded in terms of making that decision making, because they were not economically empowered. To a certain degree, even today, a working woman in an urban area also sometimes do not make those decisions, because it is the gender stereotyping that has happened over centuries, which has, the confidence in women to make those decisions has eroded. So, in this case, I mean, both the pillars have to be set up at the same time. One is economic empowerment. As women start making money, okay, they will have a voice and choice in every decision of their life, including how to invest the money, what to do with the money. Today, when they're dependent on the male counterpart to earn the money, obviously the choice of how to, use the money also doesn't stay with them. Okay, so one is we need to ensure that women are economically empowered. Two is, even after economic empowerment, we do see still those decisions often tend to lie with the male counterpart, and that has happened because we need to skill women to understand the financial and digital aspects, and today they have the intent. Okay, they know that if they're earning the money, they need to save for the future of their families, but they need to learn, they need to be skilled enough to use the resources, and they need to break the gender stereotyping that, the social conditioning that has happened over centuries. So I think the role of both enabling women livelihood and skilling them to understand the digital and financial literacy, to understand what to do with the money, how to invest the money is important, and both have to run in parallel.
And do you see anywhere, access to credit becoming an enabler there? Because that's also something which is emerging as a need. When you go to grassroots, they are saying that, especially once they start something of their own, running a mom and pop store, and they want to scale up their business. They want to have access to credit, but still, due to, I think there is still gap by a financial institution to give them that kind of credit that they want. If you want to kind of highlight, how that can be an enabler as well.
Oh, absolutely. Both when they have money, how to use that, because they do not have formal avenues to invest that money. Today, they're still, the rural woman, the lady of the house is still putting the money in the rice jar. या बिस्तर के नीचे, right? So what to do with the money when they have the money, and when they are in need of money to start their own enterprises or for the family's future, where do they get the money from, right? Today, because the cost of India is a distributed geography, right? Large distributed geography. So formal financial institutions often find it difficult to reach the last mile because it is an asset heavy model which does not make economic value to them then, right? Two is also the question of, NTC customers, because this woman would not have credit scores before, and then how do you evaluate them and give them credit? So what typically happens is then this woman, when they take money, they take it from sources that are not viable for them. Money lenders that will wipe out whatever little resources they have accumulated. So for women to start enterprises, even cottage industries, the access to easy credit is important, and there needs to be alternate sources of both, measuring their credit capabilities, and which can happen, right? This is the model that we are trying to establish in PayNearby, because this lady of the house, the money that she is accumulating and saving under the mattress or in the tin jar, today if she takes the money and starts investing small amounts in whatever mode that she is comfortable, a savings account, a FD, small mutual funds, in whatever instruments that she is comfortable in, she starts creating a footprint of herself, right, of her credit capabilities. And then if we train and tool the retailer to enable credit through the various partnerships that PayNearby is working with many new fintech companies that are willing to work on new ways of credit scoring, we can enable the woman then to take formal credit, which will move her away from the money lending cycle that that can wipe out her existence, right, and get her into formal economy, enable her to start a small enterprise, and from there, have wings to her dreams.
James, what are your thoughts on this? How do you kind of ensure that they are not taking from informal sources? Because that's also something which happens in the rural and even in urban communities, like how Jayati was saying. There is a tendency, if the FI are not there and access is not there, then the tendency is to take from relatives and then go into those money lenders and then have huge amount of interest rate, and they don't know how to kind of address that issue. So how do you see that be eradicated?
That is reality today. In fact, we've experienced it also. And I would just have one response to that. It is reach. We have to reach every nook and corner, every pin code, every zilla, every block level. Okay? We had done a project also, in fact, with so on the similar lines. If you actually go to see, we had done there were certain trades that were dying trades that we would say. So for example, the artisans who actually specialize in zardozi or chicken curry, for that matter, premium prices in the global market, but they get exploited over here. Why? Because of the middlemen. So in the parlance, I'm just looking at it as the lady taking from an informal money lender, okay, which actually erodes the entire essence of what their capability is. And then what happens is they feel that they have become failures. Now, in this example also that I gave, the reason why we did that project was we realized that these artisans had the skill, okay, but they don't have the capital. They don't even have the documentation that is required to actually get microfinance from a bank. and this is ground reality that I'm talking about. Many bank branch managers also do not know that there is a process known as AOP, Association of Persons, wherein 3-4 people can come together. So what I'm talking about is when we walk the road to enable these artisans, what all we ourselves learned, about the ecosystem that exists in actual rural India. So what happens is we have to facilitate PAN cards, we have to facilitate GST numbers, we had to enable them in terms of, because then we tied up with a few e-commerce companies because they did not know how to do cataloging, they did not know.
James, if I may just interrupt, actually the feedback from from people who have joined in, if you could speak in Hindi, because I think there's a large population of retailers that have joined in.
Okay, I'll let him. Okay, so मेजॉरिटी जो एक्चुअली जो जैसे बोलते ट्रेडर्स है, मिडिलमैन, ओके, दे वर इरोडिंग जितने भी उनके जैसा क्या बोले आप, उनका कैपेबिलिटी, ओके। तो इसमें मेन प्रॉब्लम क्या हुआ कि प्रोजेक्ट इस तरीके से था कि कनेक्ट विद देम, take them on to the e-commerce companies जितने भी है, उनको कैपेबिलिटी कैटलॉगिंग में, वेयर हाउसिंग में दिया जाए, क्योंकि उनके पास तो हुनर था, लेकिन जैसे आप एक कस्टमर हो, आप उनके पास जाएंगे आज और कहेंगे कि मुझे 100 ड्रेस पीसेस चाहिए, तो उनके पास उतना कैपिटल है नहीं, ठीक है, उनके पास उतना वेयर हाउसिंग का जगह भी नहीं है, ठीक है, लेकिन और इतने शॉर्ट टाइम में वो 100 ड्रेस पीसेस डिलीवर नहीं कर पाएगा, तो या तो उनको बिजनेस छोड़ना पड़ता था या तो दे वुड गेट एक्सप्लॉइटेड। इसी तरीके से जैसा आपने एग्जांपल दिया कि इनफॉर्मल वे ऑफ टेकिंग, जैसा लोन या कर्जा, ओके, तो वहां पर पहुंचना और उनको कम्युनिकेट करना कि ये और भी जरिया है, और भी तरीके हैं, ओके, क्योंकि क्या है, उनको लाखों की जरूरत नहीं है फॉर एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप टू स्टार्ट ऑफ योर ओन खुद का बिजनेस। अगर शुरुआत करना है, मैं चपाती भी बना सकता हूँ बल्क में और सप्लाई कर सकता हूँ। एक चपाती मेकर कितने में आएगा? 5,000 में आएगा, ठीक है। तो बहुत तरीके रहना चाहिए, और कि कितना क्वांटिटी, कितना क्वांटम ऑफ लोन का जरूरत है या जैसा है, उस हिसाब से जैसा पेनियरबाई द्वारा उतने ऑप्शंस दिया जाना चाहिए। और 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 का लोन लेने के लिए बस 3 साल 4 साल का बैलेंस शीट का जरूरत तो नहीं है, ठीक है। तो और मेन चीज में जो फाइनेंस कंपनीज को, आज की तारीख में प्रैक्टिस क्या है, मैं एक्चुअली रियलिटी बताता हूँ। तो समझ लीजिए मैंने आपसे लोन लिया, ठीक है, और मैं मेरा बिजनेस का शुरुआत भी कर लिया। अभी इसमें मैं 3-4 महीने तक आपको वक्त पे किस्त भरने का कोशिश किया और कर दिया। 5वें महीने में, 6ठे महीने में मुझे बिजनेस में थोड़ा दिक्कत आ गया, क्योंकि ये रियलिटी है एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का, ठीक है। एक फॉर्मूला नहीं है कि 100% जितने एंटरप्रेन्योर्स है 100% सक्सेस करेगा और 1 साल के अंदर करेगा। तो उसके लिए वक्त लगता है, बिजनेस वेजरीज है, बिजनेस डायनामिक्स है। तो इसमें जो फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन है, वो जो कर्जदार है, जो कर्ज लिया है, उनका इंटेंट देखना चाहिए कि ठीक है 5वें महीने में किस्त नहीं आया, लेकिन वो मेरे संपर्क में है, यानी कि उनकी इंटेंट क्या है, नेक है, ओके, आज नहीं तो कल देगा। 8वें महीने में अगर मैं जाऊंगा और अभी मुझे पता है कि मेरा बिजनेस क्यों डाउन हो रहा है, मुझे 20,000 और चाहिए, मैं पूरा लौटा दूंगा। आज की तारीख में रियलिटी क्या है, अगर मैं ये कह दूं कि कोई फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन से, बोलेगा ना आपका क्रेडिट रेटिंग लो है, लेकिन मेरा इंटेंट क्लियर था, मैं भाग के चला नहीं गया, ठीक है। तो दूसरे तरीके से देखा जाएगा तो अगर मेरा दोस्त आज की तारीख में जिनका कोई रिकॉर्ड नहीं है आपके साथ, वो एक प्रपोजल दे दे, आप उनको लोन देंगे, यानी कि द नोन डेविल, if I may use that term, okay, is not entertained because of credit rating. लेकिन इसमें one very important part is कि मैं ये नहीं, मेरा काबिलियत है नहीं आपको पेमेंट देने का आज के तारीख, ठीक है। तो I require a top up loan, okay, to come out of that. Maybe you take some collateral from me, ओके, बट यू हैव टू हेल्प मी एज अ फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन, क्योंकि ये पार्टनरशिप है एक फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन और एक एंटरप्रेन्योर का, क्योंकि हर एंटरप्रेन्योर विल नॉट बी एबल टू पे, मे बी बिजनेस डायनामिक्स आर वेरी डिफरेंट, ठीक है। सो दिस इज माय टेक ऑन दैट। सो इन शॉर्ट, मल्टीपल ऑप्शंस, स्मॉलर पैकेट्स एंड रीच to every possible nook and corner, okay? तो मैं बहुत खुश था जब आनंद जी से बात भी किया, तो उन्होंने कहा कि 22,000 पिन कोड्स में आज की तारीख में सर्विसिंग हो रहा है, तो ये बहुत बहुत बड़ा नेटवर्क है, एंड दिस काइंड ऑफ नेटवर्क कैन प्ले एक बहुत आई वुड से इम्पोर्टेंट रोल इन रीच। थैंक्स।
नहीं, वही 22,000 काफी बड़ा नेटवर्क है सीरियसली, मतलब इसमें लगता है कि मतलब इतना बड़ा रीच हो रहा है, और इसीलिए जो आपने जो कुछ हाईलाइट किए स्किल्स को लेके, उसमें थोड़ा सा और जानने की कोशिश करें कि इसमें आपको, जैसे अब हम एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप की बात कर रहे हैं, तो इसमें कई चीजें जो होती है, जैसे नेगोशिएशन स्किल्स हो गई या कैसे मार्केटिंग करते हैं, ये भी हम देखते हैं जो महिलाओं के का भी गैप रहता है। मतलब चाहे जब उनका फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी हो जाता है, मतलब उनको समझ में आ जाता है कि छोटे साहूकार की जगह आप फॉर्मल फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन को एक्सेस करो, आप समझ जाते हो यूसेज ऑफ यूपीआई, एईपीएस के बारे में भी समझ गए हैं, लेकिन अभी भी जब अब रन करती है मॉम एंड पॉप स्टोर या कोई टेलरिंग ट्रेड से आगे निकलना चाहती हैं, उनको अभी नेगोशिएट करना नहीं आता, मार्केटिंग करनी नहीं आती। यहाँ पे रास्की का क्या रोल है और कैसे आप PayNearby के साथ ये भी इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकते हैं?
ये एनेबलमेंट होना बहुत जरूरी है, और एक चीज है मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि ऐसा नहीं है कि महिलाएं नेगोशिएट नहीं कर सकते, इनफैक्ट बेस्ट नेगोशिएटर्स महिलाएं ही है 100%, लेकिन ये पर्सनल लाइफ में होता है, क्योंकि उनमें वो कॉन्फिडेंस दिलाया नहीं जाता है कि आप प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में भी जिस तरीके से आप बाजी खरीदते हो, आप देख लीजिए, मार्केट में जाके देख लीजिए, एक आदमी जैसा नेगोशिएट करते हैं और एक लेडी कैसा नेगोशिएट करता है। एक्चुअली आदमी चुपचाप खड़ा रहता है ये देखने के लिए कि महिला ने कितने में खरीदा और कितना खरीदा, और उसके बाद बोल रहे वही भाव पे मुझे दे दीजिए। तो उनमें वो काबिलियत है, ठीक है, लेकिन वो उनके दिमाग में ऐसा है कि ये काबिलियत मेरा पर्सनल लाइफ और घर चलाने में ही है। एक्चुअली एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप घर पे भी होता है, हर डिसीजन में है, पर्सनल लाइफ में भी है, लेकिन उनको वो कॉन्फिडेंस दिलाया नहीं गया है कि मैं यही कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ बिजनेस कमर्शियल्स में भी नेगोशिएट कर सकता हूं। अभी इसमें दो चीजें, कॉन्फिडेंस तो उनमें होना चाहिए, ठीक है, लेकिन वो कंटेंट यानी कि वो स्किलिंग, तो जैसा वेंडर मैनेजमेंट हुआ, स्टॉक हुआ, इन्वेंट्री का होल्डिंग कॉस्ट क्या होता है, ये सब मॉड्यूल्स है जो हम अपस्किलिंग या स्किलिंग में करवाएंगे। लेकिन तो यानी कि जैसा बोलते हैं सब्जेक्ट मैटर एक्सपर्ट में हो गया अभी, ठीक है, प्रोफेशनल लाइफ में अभी इसका एप्लीकेशन करना है या इसको एप्लीकेशन तक लेना, यानी कि जितना मेरा नेगोशिएशन स्किल या पर्सनल लाइफ में मैं कर रहा था, अभी उसी स्किल्स को मैं यहां पर लेके ये सब्जेक्ट मैटर एक्सपर्टाइज जो मैंने गेन किया उसे इस्तेमाल करना है। बहुत ही आसान होगा। सबसे बड़ा जो जैसे बोलते हैं बाधा जो पार करना पड़ेगा वो उनके दिमाग में ही है और कहीं नहीं है, उनके सोच में ही है। अगर उनका खुद का सोच चेंज होता है वो ऑटोमेटिक, क्योंकि अगर मेरे पास टॉपिक के बारे में पता है और मेरे पास वो स्किल है कि मैं उसके ऊपर मैं बात कर सकता हूँ, तो अगर मैं नहीं करूं तो वो मेरा ही फॉल्ट है। तो सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस, यानी कि उनको ऑटोमेटिकली, तो ये मॉड्यूल भी है कस्टमर इंटरेक्शन, वेंडर इंटरेक्शन, ठीक है, ये तरीके के भी, तो नेगोशिएशन कैसा करना है, कितने वेंडर्स, यानी एक वेंडर को मिल गया ना, सिलेक्ट मत करो, दूसरे को मिलो, तीसरे को मिलो, अभी प्राइसिंग नेगोशिएट हुआ, टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस, ओके, क्रेडिट पीरियड, ठीक है, रिटर्न्स अगर पेरिशेबल प्रोडक्ट है, ये सब चीज के बारे में भी उनको इंफॉर्मेशन देना है।
गायत्री, आपको क्या लगता है, जैसे जेम्स बता रहे हैं हर एक लेवल पे हम लोग को ये इन्फॉर्मेशन, हाउ फ्रीक्वेंटली यू थिंक कि आप जो डिजिटल नारी है उनको ये ट्रेनिंग दिया जाना चाहिए? क्या एक बारी में हो जाता है या आपको लगता है कि एक सस्टेन्ड एफर्ट है? आपको किस तरीके से लगता है कि वो कंटिन्यू किया जा सकता है आफ्टर बिकमिंग डिजिटल नारी?
सो सी हम ये जो डिजिटल नारी प्रोग्राम है इस फॉर्म और नाम से नहीं रन कर रहे थे, विच इज़ अ न्यू लॉन्च दैट वी हैव डन इन लास्ट मंथ। पर हमारा जो ये वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप प्रोग्राम है वो काफ़ी 1-2 साल से चल रहा है। तो हम काफ़ी सारे स्टेट लाइवलीहुड मिशन के साथ काम करते हैं टू एनेबल वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योर्स। तो वेदर इट इज़ यूपी में हो गया, राजस्थान में हो गया, महाराष्ट्र में हो गया, हम स्टेट लाइवलीहुड मिशन के साथ काम कर रहे हैं और 10-15 हज़ार से ज़्यादा महिलाएं आज हमारे साथ इस मिशन में जुड़े हुए हैं। तो ऑनबोर्डिंग तो रिलेटिवली ईजियर है, जब आप कोहॉर्ट में आपको एक्सेस मिलता है उनको ऑनबोर्ड आप कर लेते हो। पर हमारा जो आज तक का लर्निंग है कि कंटिन्यूअस स्किलिंग इज़ वेरी वेरी एसेंशियल, नहीं तो वो ड्रॉप ऑफ हो जाता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ इंटरेस्ट। और शुरू में ही तो कोई मतलब 5-10 हज़ार कमाना शुरू नहीं करेगा। तो स्टार्ट इज ऑलवेज स्मॉल, राइट? आप 100, 200, 300, 500 करके वो जर्नी तैयार करते हो। तो वो पीरियड जब आप वैल्यू दिख रहे हो पर छोटे अमाउंट पे दिख रहे हो, उस पीरियड में उनका इंटरेस्ट होल्ड करना और उसको कंटिन्यूसली सपोर्ट करना इज़ अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोग्राम। तो you will have to build, if you have to build capacity at the last mile for women entrepreneurship, you will have to enable a sustainable also skilling and development program, and that's a must. Because
so how do you see this continuous skilling? How do you do that?
Like James was mentioning that we today are present in 22,000 plus pin codes, and we have over 12 lakh retailers who already know the system and work with our system, right? We also have feet on street in the various districts that we operate in. So it is a combination of our own sales force plus taking the help of already established entrepreneurs in that space. It's a combination of that, yeah. And we also we work with partners like RASCI to also enable this program. So it's a combination of all internal programs that we established. We train the trainers, we get feet on street on the ground, we use existing entrepreneurs to further train our ladies, and then we partner with organizations that can help us in that space, like RASCI, who is, like I mentioned, has always been a big champion of the way we worked at PayNearby.
Great. So, coming to a closure, I just want to understand, अगर जेम्स आपसे बोला जाए 3 ऐसी चीजें जो आज महिला दिवस है, महिला सशक्तिकरण के लिए 3 ऐसी इम्पोर्टेंट चीजें जो आपको लगता है क्रिटिकल है, तो वो क्या 3 चीजें रहेंगी?
I'll definitely speak about 3 things. One is adaptability. Okay, क्योंकि ये चेंजिंग सिचुएशन में, बिजनेस डायनेमिक्स में अडेप्टेबल होना बहुत ज़रूरी है। और अगर एक महिला घर, जो मैं एक तरीके से एक संस्था बोल सकता हूँ, उसमें सक्सेसफुल हो सकता है चलाने के लिए, क्योंकि जैसे बोलते हैं टिपिकल, इफ आई टू से रूरल इंडिया ऑल्सो, एक आदमी आएगा, महीने का जो खर्चा है उनके हाथ में देता है, ठीक है, और वो उसी अमाउंट में पूरा घर चलाता है और कुछ बचाता भी है, ठीक है। तो वो जैसा एक संस्था हुआ, अगर वो संस्था इतना खूबसूरत तरीके से वो चला सकती है, तो बिजनेस क्यों नहीं? ओके, सो बिकम अडेप्टेबल। अभी वो बिजनेस के लिए क्या हुनर लेना है, सी इट हैज टू, यू कैन नॉट पुश इट, एट द पुल आना चाहिए, ठीक है। जैसा हम सब स्कूल गए, ठीक है, शायद जैसा मेरा मैथ्स का बुक जो है मैं कभी खोलता नहीं था, ठीक है, उसके लिए मेरा पिताजी डंडा लेता था, तभी मैं खोलता था। लेकिन एक कॉमिक पढ़ने के लिए मुझे पिताजी का डंडे का जरूरत नहीं रहता था, मैं खुद कॉमिक खोलता था, ठीक है। तो वो पुल फैक्टर होना चाहिए कि मुझे करना है कुछ, मैं कर सकता हूँ, अगर घर संभाल सकता हूँ इतने अच्छी तरीके से तो मैं बिजनेस भी चला सकता हूँ, ठीक है। दूसरी चीज अफोर्डेबिलिटी। अफोर्डेबिलिटी व्हेन आई स्पीक इज यानी कि मेरे पास नॉलेज है, मेरे पास कैपेबिलिटी और मेरे पास कॉन्फिडेंस भी है अभी, ठीक है। तो आई रिक्वायर टू बी इन अ सिचुएशन वेयरइन आई कैन गेट affordable credit support, affordable vendor support, to connections, to enablement, यानी कि in whichever manner we will try to actually get them onboarded onto marketplaces, okay, यानी कि उनका वो रिमोट इंडिया में जरूर हो सकता है लेकिन उनका कस्टमर थ्रू आउट द कंट्री हो सकता है, दैट विजिबिलिटी, ओके, सो द डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म। एंड तीसरी बात एक्सेसिबिलिटी, ओके, एक्सेसिबिलिटी टू नॉलेज, एक्सेसिबिलिटी टू अपकमिंग मार्केट ट्रेंड्स, क्या चल रहा है क्या नहीं चल रहा है, तो दैट कम्युनिकेशन, ओके, बहुत जरूरी है। उनको बिजनेस डिसीजंस लेने में, उनको स्टॉकिंग लेवल्स करने में, उनको पैकेजिंग करने में, उनको जैसा प्राइसिंग कॉम्पिटिटिव रखने में, स्कीम्स चलाने में, क्या क्या बिक रहा है, क्या ज्यादा स्टॉक में है, उनको कम कैसा किया जाएगा, ओके। सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दीज थ्री एक्चुअली आर द थ्री क्रिटिकल एज फॉर अ वुमन to enable them in this business: adaptability, affordability and accessibility. That's what I would say for this.
Great. So besides these three A's, Jayatri, any thoughts that what you think could be three factors, or you concur with James also?
No, I fully agree. And as a woman who tries to balance work and life every day, right? I think we need to create a supporting ecosystem for women to come into the formal workforce. And as I keep saying, right, for a lady, the most important, and if I have to combine it and all my thoughts in a line, I would say that खुद को इतना सक्षम कर कि सशक्त बनने के लिए तुझे किसी और का ज़रूरत ना हो, right? And in the report, we are very happy to see that more and more ladies, more than 50% of the women who we have spoken to, they're eager to skill themselves, they're eager to start earning their own living, right? Economic independence and financial independence is a big factor for women to start having a voice in the day-to-day running of their, not only their own lives, but the family's life, the social life, everything put together. So all of us that work in this space, we need to put our heads together. How can we enable them to start earning their own money? What are the skills that's required, and how do we ensure that we get those skills reach the last mile? So that's what we should all aim to do together.
Hey, thank you so much, James and Jayatri, the two J's that we have. You have spoken about the three A's, which the women should have. महिला सशक्तिकरण के लिए adaptability, affordability और accessibility, ये तीन हम लेके चलेंगे अपने साथ। और हमारे साथ जो रिटेल भाई बहन जुड़े हैं, अभी शायद ट्रेडर्स जुड़े हैं जैसा आपने बताया, वो भी आगे इसको लेके जा सकते हैं। और यहाँ पे हम क्लोज करना चाहेंगे।
PayNearby Women Financial Index PWFI, an annual white paper now in its 4th edition, offers a comprehensive report on financial and digital evolution among women in semi-urban and rural Bharat. The survey is conducted across 5,000 PayNearby retail stores pan-India. This yearly assessment evaluates present consumption patterns, assesses the advancements made, and identifies areas for development. It equips stakeholders to design effective strategies, facilitating the integration of women as equal participants in India's growth journey. Highlights of the report: 63% of women in Bharat aspire to start business or job. 85% of them have limited or no access to recurring income source currently. 95% of women customers availing basic banking services prefer AEPS as a mode of cash withdrawal. 72% women cite cash withdrawal to be the primary financial service sought at a retail store. The preferred cash withdrawal ranges Rs 1,000 to 2,500. Cash continues to dominate the payment space. Around 48% of women preferred dealing in cash. Top 3 services availed at the store are cash withdrawal, mobile recharges and bill payments, followed closely by bank account openings. 80 to 30-year-old stands out as the most digitally adept, with 45% of women across this age groups utilizing smartphones actively. However, 41% of women do not have any payment app on their phone. 70% women have savings account and 73% operate bank account themselves. Women primarily save for child's education, medical emergency and purchase of household electronic items. Preferred range of monthly savings is 54% save Rs 750 to 1000, 27% save above Rs 1500, 71% were keen to save for 3 to 5 years. For investment decision, 74% women relying on family members. 11% rely on financial advisors, that is women influencers in their affinity. Awareness about various government schemes and initiatives. 45% have benefited from government-backed initiatives. 16% were well aware. 55% were moderately aware. 29% women were aware of insurance products, however the adoption stands at 2%. There is a pressing need to create insurance awareness at the last mile for financial stability and well-being. Among the insurance-aware respondents, insurance penetration is at 30% for life insurance and 15% health insurance. 68% were open to availing credit from formal institutions for emergency expenses, child's education, agricultural needs. Online commerce is gaining traction with women. 27% order groceries and household items most frequently, followed by 24% ordering clothes and 23% order home and kitchen goods. These figures confirm the strong aspirations and existing demand for such services among women. On travel front, 96% were willing to book rail tickets online. Future trends indicate adoption of PAN services, e-commerce, entertainment and travel in future.
It is delightful to see that more and more women in India are asserting their entrepreneurial capabilities, and more than 63% of women are looking forward to additional revenue sources in Bharat. In this journey towards the nation building to trillions of dollars of economy, we recognize that women are equally important elements and partner to the nation building, and we at PayNearby appreciate the fact that women are the GDP reserve of the nation, and it is really appreciated that we see the format of women-led empowerment rather than women empowerment. The increasing trend of adoption of newer services like assisted e-commerce or selling mutual funds, fixed deposit and micro insurance signifies the fact that there is a huge potential in the tier 2 and beyond in the mass Bharat, and best if it is served by the local resident women of the ecosystem, and that's where the major adaptability is, the acceptance is, and we believe truly that it is about Sashakt Naari, Sashakt Bharat.
PayNearby Women Financial Index is our annual stock-taking exercise to understand the financial and digital evolution of women. It is an important yardstick that guides us to take appropriate action to make women equal participants in the country's growth journey. While you have seen the numbers in the previous slides, one important underlying thing that has come out throughout the report is that the aspirations of women in the hinterlands are unlimited. Women today want to have a voice and a choice in the running of their day-to-day lives and the family's future. And for that, it is important that women have the financial independence to do so. Whopping majority of women in the survey have shown the willingness to go out and earn their own living. But unfortunately today, because of the limitations of infrastructure and the way the societal norms have functioned. This women today lack the resources to go out and do so. The other thing that came out very, very strongly in the report is that while seeking advice for any financial related decisions, whether it is saving or taking a loan for the family's future, women tend to depend on other women influencers within their family or in close proximity in their villages. This brings us to the important point that we want to lay stress on, which is how every village needs to have a digital Naari who becomes the role model, the influencer, who is able to take women within the society ahead in a more digitally and financially evolved journey. While doing so, the digital Naaris also ensure that they have a sustainable livelihood generation for them, which is going to be very important for not only their families but also as a role model in their communities. We invite everyone who work in the space, whether it is in the SHG space, NGO space, the livelihood generation space, to come and join us in this movement and ensure that we participate together to train and build capacity across villages for the digital and financial evolution of women and to ensure there is a sustainable livelihood generation at the last mile.
Thank you for patiently.
Very nice, very nice.
Congratulations, Jayatri and team, for this launch.
Thank you so much.
And James also.
On behalf of everyone of the team, I really want to thank you for patiently listening to the numbers and going through the video. जैसे कि हमने देखा है कि भारत के जो हिंटरलैंड्स है उसमें जो महिलाएं हैं उनका एस्पिरेशंस बड़ा है. हमें अभी काम करना है कि हम कैसे उस एस्पिरेशंस को साक्षर कर पाए, हम उसको रियलिटी में लेके आ पाए. और उसके लिए खाली एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन काम करेगा तो नहीं चलेगा. हमारे अभी इस स्पेस में बहुत लोग काम कर रहे हैं. हम अगर एक साथ जुट के काम करते हैं तो आई थिंक वी विल बी एबल टू रियलाइज दोज गोल्स फास्टर. हमारा जो डिजिटल नारी प्रोग्राम है उसके लिए महिलाओं को कुछ भी एडिशनल नहीं चाहिए, खाली बस एक मोबाइल चाहिए. उसके बाद ना कोई एडिशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट चाहिए. वो मोबाइल से अपने टाइम के हिसाब से अपने जो कंफर्टेबल है उसी स्पेस में बैठकर जो प्रोडक्ट्स उनको लगता है कि उनके एरिया में उसका नीड है वो प्रोडक्ट वो लोगों तक पहुंचा के अपने लिए और अपने सोसाइटी के लिए एक उम्मीद का किरण बन सकता है. वो अपने लिए लाइवलीहुड ला सकता है. और हमने देखा है कि हमारे गांव में जो महिलाएं हैं वो ज़्यादातर और महिलाओं की ही सुनते हैं. तो अगर उनको भी डिजिटल और फिनेंशियल जर्नी में इवॉल्व करना है तो हमें ये करना पड़ेगा कि हर गांव में एक चैम्पियन बने, एक डिजिटल नारी बने. तो हम इनवाइट करते हैं जो सारे लोग इस स्पेस में काम करते हैं, हम कैसे एकजुट होकर हमारे महिलाओं का ड्रीम जल्दी से जल्दी रियलिटी में ला पाए और उनको एक सस्टेनेबल लाइवलीहुड दे पाए और साथ में उनके एरिया में जो और महिलाएं हैं उनको एक प्रोग्रेसिव फ्यूचर की तरफ लेके पाए. थैंक यू रिचा, थैंक यू जेम्स फॉर अग्रीइंग टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ द पैनल डिस्कशन टुडे. We really enjoyed the discussion and we want to thank you so much for it.
Pleasure always. Thank you so much, Richa.
Thank you so much, James, Jayatri. Thank you so much.